straight to James Woudhuysen, who's visiting professor at London South Bank University. Good evening, James.
Nice to meet you again,
Yeah,
Kevin.
sorry, I got the wrong story there, but you're doing a far more important story, of course. Tony Blair today said that Labour will never win the next election, or never win an election, as long as it ties itself to woeful wokery. It is the party of wokery, of identity politics. He says it has to break free from the shackles of that in order to win an election. Now, that's good coming from him, isn't it? He pretty much invented political wokery.
Well, that's right, Kevin. I'm rather worried about what would now be called his mental health, because if you look at his Labour Party conference speech in September 1999, he was talking about the importance of multiculturalism, devolution, student numbers. He wanted no freeze on that. And, he wanted the Bank of England's independence, which paved the way for Mark Carney and his kind of woke pronouncements about climate change. I wondered about Tony Blair's mental health when he said it was, wokeism was just a small though vocal minority. I wonder whether he's watching Channel 4 News or the BBC News or all the other people who in the establishment contribute to the woke phenomenon. What he's more obsessed with, because he's reliving the past, is, driving the far left to the margins of the Labour Party. What far left? What was his name called? Jeremy? I can't remember.
That's the guy. Yeah.
So,
Magic Grandpa.
Yeah, he's still fighting the battles of the past. He doesn't understand that woke is the dominant ideology of the ruling class today. It's the way that you become a member of the new ruling class. And he's just so out of touch. Get back to your electric guitar, Tony.
What are we going to do about wokery? I mean, it is becoming a pernicious problem, isn't it? It is the enemy of common sense in most cases, and yet it prevails and gets stronger every day. It dominates so many areas of society, particularly teaching, which is very worrying because our kids are getting their heads filled with this woke nonsense, and they're going to come out of school as wokies, basically.
Well, yes, and I mean, Tony Blair does bear a lot of responsibility for that. If you look at his 15th of September 2004 speech, I'd rather not, but on climate change, it's him who's pioneered the idea of smarter lifestyles. What does he mean by smarter lifestyle? It means austerity, really. And therefore, when we're fighting wokery, as you call it, I think the first thing to point out is that just dismissing it as woke or virtue signaling doesn't do the business. And nor does, as we've discussed before, Kevin, the charge of hypocrisy. That doesn't do it. What we have to establish in the public mind is how much the evincing of woke attitudes is a ticket to ride to the new sort of superiority complex that infects students, I fear to say, many of the young, all of the professions, especially the civil service. And we have to really get down to the nitty-gritty arguments rather than just be dismissive. We're only going to beat it, Kevin, by being rational. And, that's one thing that woke isn't. We have to point out just how irrational it is.
And it's ordinary people who see the absurdity of it. They're bemused by it. They're annoyed by it. They don't understand it because they've got a handle on real life. It's the new Brexit Remainer argument, isn't it? Those who understand wokery are the superior classes, the liberal elite, the North Londoners in their big Hampstead mansions. Those who don't, people, who we used to call working class, and they're bemused and oppressed by it.
Well, that's correct. But, bemusement is not a weapon to actually defeat it. That's my point about rationalism and rationality. We have to uphold everything that is universal to human beings rather than gender identities, racial identities, LGBTQ identities, and so on. What do we have in common, Kevin? That's the thing. And I think working class people and normal people will respond to that and will be better than bemused. They will be actively hostile to wokeism in their search for a better society.
Indeed.